listeners. Welcome to another episode of Romance Unraveled. This is one of your co hosts, Jacob Bozen. And for the month of April, we have one of my good friends here in DC. His name's Kevin Keene. He's going to be the co host with me. Kevin and I met at volleyball, I would say maybe, I don't know, was it like, it's close to 2 years ago, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, probably at this point, 2 years. It's flown by
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, 2 years probably. But yeah, Kevin's been a great friend. He's kind of introduced me to like the gay sports in DC, which I've met a lot of people that way. So, um, Kevin, let's have you introduce yourself and tell the listeners a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, definitely. So I've been in DC for over 6 years now, which feels like a long time. I play a lot of volleyball, time at Jacob. I also play a lot of pickleball, which Jacob and I have played a lot together. And I live with my boyfriend in Bloomingdale with my cat. And yeah, that's a little bit of background about me.
Yeah. So our episode today, it will be one of Kevin's stories, actually. He's got a plethora of stories and he wanted to tell this one. So let's just turn it over to you, Kevin, and we can get right into it.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, I chose this story. I think it's kind of interesting and kind of wild towards the end, but to get it started, I'll give you some context. So this was right after graduating college. Me and my best friend Paroma went on a trip to Ecuador as kind of our graduation trip, and we were there for maybe 10 days or so. And my dad was also traveling, and so we met up with him at a few different places on our trip. And so this story takes place, I think it's in the city of Cuenca, or somewhere around there. And me and Kuruma stayed in a hostel, and my dad was also in town at a hotel somewhere. And Perlman and we booked a six-person dorm,
I would never.
and
God, I would hate that. Do you prefer the hostels over a hotel room?
I do. It's fun when you're traveling because you can like meet people, for better or for worse, I guess. And it's just like so much more inexpensive. And so six-person is kind of like I've done like 10, 12-person dorms before. That's a little too much. But
I
like
would be
a good like four,
nervous.
6-person dorm.
I would be nervous all night long that people were going to steal my stuff or do something. In my trip
Yeah.
to Thailand last year, I we stayed at a hostel technically, but we upgraded to our own individual rooms. So it was like a hotel, and everybody else stayed in hostel rooms with tons of
Oh, yeah.
people. It was more
Yeah, they do
expensive
have private dorms too.
for sure.
Um, but yeah, we wanted to stay in a hostel to to meet people, and so we met someone. So we had a six-person dorm, but there's only three people who booked that night. So it was me and Chroma and this other guy. His name is Sasha. He's from Germany, and we found out it's just the three of us, and so naturally we just like invited him to dinner. We were getting dinner with my dad, and so it's kind of common like when you're in hostels to you know hang out with the people there, to go
Yeah.
out, and so we get dinner, and he was traveling alone, so he came along with us, and um, yeah, so we got dinner, the four of us. Uh, he was pretty attractive, for sure. And also for context, I guess I was, had come out of the closet like recently, within the last year or two.
How old were you
Um,
at the time?
so so I was 22 right after graduation, and so I had my first boyfriend in the last year and a half, year or two before that. And so still kind of new to dating, and a little trying to figure out like what how to do it and what I'm interested in, and knowing what I want. So um I think that's probably important context. But we so we got dinner. He was he kind of like just talked to me the whole time, and then her and my dad had to end up kind of talking to each other, and he told me like his whole backstory, how he just had like a serious relationship with like a man, and um it was like really hard for him, and he had just left his job, and so he went to travel all over South America for a pretty extended period of time. He was I think he was like a welder or something kind of niche in his profession.
Hmm.
Um, and I think he looked like he was probably like 30 at the oldest. But I
Okay.
found out through his storytelling he's actually 40 years old. He
So
just
you were
has, and I was
22 and he
22.
was
Yeah,
40. Oh God,
he was
I would
40, but
die.
he had great skin, like not like a day over 30 for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
So when you were at dinner, was it apparent to everybody else that he was into you, like even your dad?
I don't think it was that obvious, but I think it might have been like a little like strange after a while. I think Proma probably thought it was a little weird because she's kind of like, talking to my dad the whole time and kind of like, why are we not all talking together? And there's a few times where, we'd like all talk together and stuff, but like predominantly he was kind of just like facing me, solely talking to me. Um,
I would think
but
I would be really annoyed if I was the two other people if I was there.
yeah, yeah, probably. And he was definitely being like a little flirtatious, and I was a little interested in him too.
So Sasha knew that this was your dad with
Oh
you.
yeah, for sure.
Interesting. That's gutsy to me. I mean, I don't know if it's just my perception of it, but I think I guess flirting with someone in front of their parents, you know,
Yeah,
that's kind of that's kind of gutsy to me.
yeah, definitely. And I think that's what made me most uncomfortable too, is, I didn't want to like come off as if I was flirting with him, with my dad there. And so, but he's 40, so I'm sure, he's more comfortable with himself at that point. Like I wasn't out to my dad at that point.
Okay.
So maybe for that reason, he didn't really think it was that weird.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so he gave me his whole backstory, big talker, and I don't remember many details beyond that at this point, but and then at some point dinner came to an end and we went back to our hostel. It was a little bit late at that point, probably like maybe 10 p.m. We're having like a late dinner, and eventually we, went to bed in the dorm, just the three of us. And I was on the bottom bunk, and he was on the bunk above me. And then Proma was in a bunk, like across a pathway.
The tension is building.
And
I'm super nervous.
yeah, well, so yeah, he was pretty cute. And then so we just like went to bed. I was too new at it to like, make a move or anything, and didn't really know how interested I was, but it was about maybe like 15-20 minutes after we go to bed, I kind of I like kind of like woke up a little bit and I see that he's looking down from above, watching me watching me sleep from the top bunk. And
So he was
I was
leaned
like,
over looking at you, like from the
yeah,
top.
looking at me. And
That's
then as
weird.
when he Yeah, it was a little weird. I didn't know how long he was there though. But when I opened my eyes, he like started whispering to me, like I forgot what he said, but, like, like, hey, like, you still awake and blah blah. And then after whispering for like a couple of minutes, he asked if he can like come down and lie next to me. And so I'm like, okay, like sure. So like comes down, and I think we were far enough away from Proma that like she probably wouldn't hear whispering, but like maybe heard something. So it was like a little weird dynamic, but like, you know, we had like, we're far enough away that like, we could whisper inaudibly at least. And so he's talked to me a little bit and then like asked like like says he like wants to like cuddle, so we like cut a little bit, and then he like kissed me on the lips, and um, at that point I was getting a little like nervous because Prom was there, and it just felt like I'm like I think I'm gonna go to bed now.
Well, yeah, because it's your
So
friend, and like I would be very uncomfortable if I was her, but also very uncomfortable if I was you, just because you don't know how she's going to react to that if she even is aware that that's going on.
yeah, definitely, and yeah, he was also kind of a little chaotic of a person, so I'm just kind of like, oh well, probably best to call it there. We had a little bit of fun, but I think that was kind of all I needed.
Yeah.
And so he went back to bed, and then the next morning, like we had each other on Facebook, and then he's off to like Colombia or something, or I don't know. He has like a whole thing planned, so he leaves, and me and Proma go off on our way. But for like the next like week, this was still early on in our trip, so like the entire vacation, um, every day, multiple times a day, he's sending me updates of what he's doing with like photos and um like just like updates of his life and like fairly chunky like paragraph messages sometimes. And at first I was responding, but then I'm kind of like, you know I'm never gonna see you again. Like, why are we doing this? So I kind of stopped replying quite as much, and eventually just kind of like get down to like one word answers like cool, sounds fun, or like not even responding at all. Um, but then like after a while, he's not slowing down. So I'm kind
How
of like,
long was a
okay, well,
while?
it's been like about almost a week,
Okay.
almost a week of that. And I'm like, okay, well, I think it's time to like maybe like kind of like be like, hey, we're not gonna see each other again. Like, let's uh let's cool off a little bit.
Did he
Um,
ask you to see him again? Like, did he say we should go on vacation together somewhere else, or you should come to wherever he was, or vice versa?
yeah, he had a few times mentioned it like casually. Like, oh, I feel like, you should come visit me in Germany, or I'll come see you in the US, or something. But it just kind of felt like, just something you say at
Yeah.
that point. But yeah, I'm kind of like, I don't know, I feel like I'm a fairly nice person, so I kind of want to like be nice about it. So I think at this point it's probably be best if I just kind of read some of the screenshots from the conversation, because
Sure.
I think that's kind of like the best way to convey kind of how much craziness it descended into. So I'm gonna read some of our Facebook messages. Okay, so his message is, and also his he he spoke English pretty well, but he's very terrible at writing in English. So it's gonna be, I don't know why, but it's gonna be a little weird. So he said, I had really luck to see the penguins. So funny, cute like you. I didn't respond. And then he follows up. Amazing photos. Looks like you had a lot of fun. Okay, so I must have sent him a photo the day before. And then he said, hey Kevin, say something to me. Smiley face. I arrived in Cartagena now. Where are you? I said, hey, just arrived in Guayaquil. He said, there, it is also quite warm. I will see you again. Hope it's possible when you're back in the US. And I said, yeah, it's pretty hot. We won't see each other again. We barely know each other. Maybe if we end up in the same hostel again someday. And then he says, we won't see us here again, but when you are back in the USA, then I can visit you. I can fly from Germany to the US, winky face. And I say, no, I mean, we barely know each other, so why would we fly to another country just to see each other? And he says, I will do it to see you again. I don't know really much of you, and if I have to kick the devil in the ass, but I will see you again. Except you won't. And I said, I won't what? Please don't come to the US just to see me. That's a little much over the top. And he says, no, we can go out and you can show me a little bit of your country. Only when you have time. Keep cool. Over the top are other things. Smiley face, which I assume is some sort of sexual reference to tops. um, tops and bottoms, I think. And I said, listen, Sasha, I'm telling you, I don't know you well enough to invite you to my home or meet up with you anywhere. Like, I'm happy to be your friend and you can update me of your life all you want, but we're not going to make plans to see each other. And he says, not now, in autumn. And I don't meant that I stay in your house. I live in a hotel then, not at your home. I'm not such a man. What are you going to do to glide heel
What?
now? And I
You
say,
think you'd get it
Sasha,
by now, you know?
yeah, I
Lay
know.
off.
I'm kind of like, it seems so obvious, but I'm like, okay, I need to like double down. I say, Sasha, not now and not ever. In my house or in a hotel, you're still in my home, not in my home, not in my home, not in my hometown, and or my home state. I just want you to realize that it's not the kind of relationship we're gonna have. I don't want you to have hopes that something like that will happen. And he says, I don't have hopes, but I would like to see you again.
What in the
That's
world?
all. I don't look for relationships over the ocean. Everything is fine. Don't worry. You are the owner of a whole country, so you are a rich man. Smiley face. I go out for dinner now with a female friend, which I met in a hostel in Rio. I'm gay. Nothing happened like with you, but I meet her because we like each other. Nothing special, you see? And I like you in your way too. That's all. Can you understand that? I won't come to the US and marry you. Okay, maybe in a few years, but not now.
You know what this sounds like? This sounds like one of those scammers from like, I don't know, Yemen or some country over way over there that like reaches out to people on Facebook and talks this way, you know?
Yeah, like kind of like aggressive, a little aggressive,
Yeah.
and also just yeah, not really like what you say like doesn't really affect how they respond. It feels like almost like a bot of of
Yes,
sorts.
exactly. Yeah,
But like no bot could ever, I feel like come up with this.
for sure.
Um, but yeah, then he says, I hope you won't get angry with me now. And I said, I don't get very angry very easily, but I'm concerned you're too attached to me. Why would I be jealous if you're a friend? You can do whatever you want with anyone you want. And he says, I know, but I would like to see you again,
Oh
Mr.
my God.
Someday. Have a nice evening. And I said, okay, we're not going to see each other again, but clearly there's nothing I can say that'll stop you from hoping that it'll happen. And he says, it's not a hope, it's just without a plan, because I don't think that I can come this year to see you, so maybe next year. We will see. I know that you have a lot to do. Me too. I haven't meant that I will see you immediately. I know that's not possible. And then he continues, I meant angry with me in general. It's not necessary to be concerned about that. There is no reason. I'm okay. Good night. And at this point, I'm like, oh my God, what is going on with this guy? Um, so I said, okay, you're not understanding what I'm trying to tell you. I don't think that you ever will. So I'm going to have to block you. Sorry. I don't think it's going to work out even as friends at this point. And I feel like most people would have like blocked him much sooner, but
Yeah, I
I
agree.
was trying to be nice and you know, yeah, at that point I'm like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. I need to block him.
Yeah. And so that was the last you heard from him.
Yeah, that was the last. I blocked him and moved on.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because I've kind of been on the opposite end of this, not nearly to this level at all. But when I went to Dominican Republic in November for my birthday last year, I was alone and I met a really cute boy there. We spent
Hmm.
like a day and a half together and connected very well, like everything, stayed with each other. It was great. And the next day, when I was leaving the next day to come back home, I messaged him and I said, "Hey, like I'm going to be going to Paris in the next few months, but instead of Paris, maybe I can come to Austria to see you because I fly for free."
Hmm.
And he was like, "Oh, well, maybe." And
Hmm.
sure, like it was fun meeting you and everything, but I realized like yeah, like it doesn't make sense because he doesn't even live over here, you know? Like it my
Uh-huh.
my thinking of it was, well, I can fly for free right now. So like show me your country.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the moment that he kind of showed disinterest. I was like, okay, I'm not pursuing it any further. That's okay. It was just a nice time while it lasted. But this guy that you had, he was pretty relentless, it seemed.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, yeah, it's one. I think having people come to like your home, always like when you have like a fun like vacation and you meet someone, you have like a tryst and it's a lot of fun. It's nice, but then coming to your home is like all of a sudden, well, like I have a life there. Like it's not quite exciting for the person who lives there to like have to be a tour guide.
For sure.
Um, right. But yeah, I think that my story kind of went to the extremes of that when he just does not know how to take a not even I want to say a hint. It's not a hint, it's a slap in the face.
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny because I've been on the opposite end of it as well, like from me pursuing someone who doesn't live here, but also people like maybe a few weeks ago there was this Brazilian boy here who was an exchange student, which I've had my experiences with this before, so I should have known it was a red flag. And but he wanted me to show him all around like the DC area and drive
Mhm.
him, and I did for a little bit, but it annoyed me because it's like you said, you don't want to be somebody's tour guide, you know?
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but if the connection is great and you're having a ton of fun, then maybe it's worth it. But I feel like when you're on that end of the tour guide, like, it has to be a pretty fun person and you have to be having a lot of fun together to make it worth it.
For sure. Yeah. Well, I think it was a great story. Um,
Thank you. Thank you.
yes. Um, for our listeners, Kevin will be bringing on a few of his guests this month, so make sure to watch for them. I'm sure they will be some crazy stories as well. And make sure to subscribe and save. You can listen to us anywhere you get your podcasts. And make sure to follow us on social media. We are Romance Unraveled on Instagram and Facebook. Until next time.